Peace, King. How you feeling?
And I'm feeling great, brother. How are you?
All is well. First and foremost, I appreciate you coming on the platform. It's definitely an honor.
Yeah, man. Oh, yeah. And I apologize. I'm a little sweaty right now. I'm actually at my church, a drum at my church. So I just got through in a practice session and a couple of meetings. So sometimes I work from the church.
Oh wow, that's amazing, man. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Big shout out to the church, man, because a lot of people that was their first plays, their first musical performances. That's where they learned how to play instruments and sing. A lot of people don't give it up though.
Yeah, exactly. Nah, man. When I was in LA, I actually had the opportunity to do a music video with P. Diddy. Last night with him and Keisha Cole. I'm the drummer in that. And then before he passed, I was at Andre Crouch's church for a little bit too.
Wow, that's
Yes, that's
amazing.
definitely. As a matter of fact, I'm named Andre after Andre Crouch. My mom and dad loved Andre Crouch, so that's how I got my name Andre. But I go by Dre, of course.
Right, right. Them are some icons, man. That's
Yes,
major.
sir. Yes, sir.
Right, right. So for the viewers who, may be tuning in, let them know who you are and definitely, where you from.
Okay. What's up, everybody? Blessing to be here. My name is Drey Wigfall. I'm originally from the Charleston, South Carolina area. Went to the University of South Carolina, graduated with a theater degree, moved out to LA. Was there for a while, and then now here in Atlanta since about 2012, and really getting my footing. Just did a film with Tay Diggs that's out now on Peacock. It's called The Comeback. A lot of people have been calling me, writing me, said that they saw me on Average Joe as well. So, and even some Tyler Perry stuff I did recently. So, it's definitely been a blessing to be here.
Oh man, salute. You got a nice resume, man. That's dope. You got to
It's
work
growing.
with.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
growing, but
yeah.
it's about putting the work in, of course.
Right, right. Because I seen you on IMBD, and
Yes,
you had some nice stuff on there working with Tay Diggs. You said and Tyler Perry, man, and Deion Cole and people like that, man. Them some major players, man. Shout out to them as well.
good. And everybody has been fantastic. It's especially Tay. When we were filming, a couple of things happened, and we were always about being organic. My acting coach says all the time, just keep it organic, be real to the moment. So it's things in the film that, of course, wasn't in the script, but they worked so beautifully because they were honest moments. So just have Tay come back to me a couple of times and give me a fist bump and say how much he appreciated working with me and how certain things that happened has he never experienced in all of his acting before. That was pretty cool. He actually told the director that too, and when I premiered here in Atlanta, she brought it up in front of the open mic in front of everybody. So I'm definitely humbled by all that.
Wow, that's inspiring. I mean, to get a conversation and learn and elevate at the same time as somebody that's done been in the game and then did several classic films,
Mhm.
and you can inspire them and they can still learn and y'all can share those experiences. That's amazing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'll be telling my kids about that for a long time now.
Yeah, forever, man. Let me see. Now you said you was a musician and you in the film. Which one came first?
Really, the music came first. I grew up in the deep country, South Carolina. It's a small place called Cross, South Carolina. It's outside of Houston. And to this day, they still don't have any stoplights. I was just there last weekend, and there's not one stoplight in Cross, South Carolina. How crazy is that? So my grandfather and family members started a quartet group. It's called the Cross Gospel Four Singers, and they started that I think 1956. So I grew up with their tutelage. My uncles all played. My father played and sang, and to this day, that group is still going strong. So that's how I got my start. Mom's a pastor. Grandmother was a pastor. And so I've always been around church my whole life. So it's just stuck with me. But I'll say this: not everybody that's been in church their whole life has the walk with Christ that you would think they would have. So even though I'm not perfect, I definitely do my best to make sure I show that as I interact with people on a daily basis.
Wow, wow,
Yep.
that's amazing. That's a blessing too, man, to have, people in your family to, kind of pave the way for you and influence you and inspire you. Because everybody don't have it in their house. You know what I'm saying? Musicians
No,
and
no.
stuff.
Listen, I can still remember right now growing up, my mom, like say 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, she'll come around the house and you can hear her praying and she'd be putting anointing oil on us and anointing the doors and the house and everything. So a lot of my upbringing and different things like that come from having those solid foundations and just having those examples in front of you. Even to this day, I'll call my mom and just ask her for some words of encouragement. She pastors a church in Charleston, so I understand and respect her time. Her time is very valuable to her. So just for her to still spend time to pray with me and talk to me and give me advice is definitely dope. And my dad too is definitely dope.
Yes, indeed. That's priceless, man. That's you got to cherish that for sure.
Absolutely. So to part two of the question, acting came in middle school. I started doing middle school plays, and even plays at the church. The little Easter plays that everybody got dressed up for in their little suits and all that. It's funny because I only remember wearing those Easter suits on Easter Sunday. So I don't know. Maybe it's a waste of money, but whatever. But we'd always go get our Easter suits and all that stuff growing up. So I got my start in acting from there. And then in high school, I had to take drama to get my final credit. And I will never forget. And I didn't know it. Now I know that my drama professor in high school was a pastor. He never told us that. But that's just like the gentleman, Mr. Rogers from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. I read articles recently that he had a devout faith in Christianity. I don't know if he was a pastor, but I not one time ever heard him say that on the show, but there was a certain light that he had. Well, going back to Mr. Ron Jenkins, my high school drama professor, that same light. He would hold me after class because I played football. Matter of fact, I played football all the way up into my second year of college at the University of South Carolina. So in high school, Mr. Jenkins would we'd have some time between the end of class and then before I had to go to be at practice, and he would always say, "Listen, man, you have a gift. I really think you should consider continuing on. You're going to the University of South Carolina. They have an amazing theatrical program. I know you're playing football, but if anything doesn't work out with football, definitely consider them." So he planted that seed. I'm all about planting seeds. And then once I got hurt playing football by my second year, my knees were so bad, it was time to do something different. So I never forgot his words. And the minute I went into theater, everything just took off and blew up. I met a gentleman by the name of Donald Sedge Mackay. He's out in LA and he became my mentor. And I remember he said to me that he would be there for me, he would guide me. And he also said this, I didn't get offended, Tay, but he said that my biggest competition is not going to be people that look like him. This was an older white guy, middle-aged white guy. He said, for whatever reason, I don't know why, but what I've seen, Dre, in your community, there's not a lot of help going on. You guys aren't really helping each other. I'm going to help you. So lo and behold, when I got to LA, jumped on MTV show Your Mama. I don't know if you remember that, Tay, but it was my first day in town. My roommate at the time said, "Hey man, I'm going back for this callback. It's a show on MTV. It's going to be called Your Mama. If you're not doing nothing, come on out. I know you just got off the plane, but come on out." So the next morning we went, and I'm sitting there in the little lobby area, and one of the producers came up to me. I'll never forget this. She was like, "Hey, you here for the callback?" And I'm like, "Nah, I'm here supporting my roommate. I just landed yesterday." She said, "You got jokes?" And I'm like, "Of course." So then she said, "Hey, fill this out and go and audition in front of the producers." And lo and behold, boom, I booked it. So I literally was in town 24 hours and I booked my first gig when I went to LA. So that was pretty cool. So from there, things just kept growing and growing and growing.
Wow, that's amazing, man. It's important that you giving it up for all these different, I guess, role models or elders or people that was able to influence you, like you say, plant seeds and still help you grow along the way, man. A lot of people don't have that, like you say, especially in our community. It's like kind of
Mhm.
almost every man for themselves. You know what I'm saying? Sadly, but you see other groups of people, they kind of understand the culture. Like they'll move here, they'll open a store, they'll open another store. They might have to all live together. They may all have to go to work together, pray together, and they
Mhm.
send money back home. It's like we somehow, some way, kind of lost that element.
Mhm. And it's interesting because if you look back, and I'm not, forgive me, I'm not preaching here, but if you look back on as far as slavery days, a lot of what I learned about that is they stuck together. They had to bond together. So somehow along the way we lost that. And I bring that up because a lot of the dances that they did were actually different forms of fighting or martial arts if they had to. And it was disguised through song and dance. So to know that and how we stuck together for some reason over the years, I feel like that's been broken apart. Now, that's not everybody. I'm just saying from what I've experienced so far, I don't always see us coming together on that. Here's another example of just somebody who was a pillar for me. There's a gentleman by the name of Fluke Fluker. He does a whole bunch of community outreach, especially for kids out in the LA area. And I was a personal trainer for a while I was out in LA and a fitness director. But during one of our sessions, Fluke said to me, he said, Dre, you know that saying is all about who you know? And I'm like, yeah, I heard that a lot. And he said, well, let's take that a step further. It's all about who you know and what they know of you. When they hear the name Drey Wigfall, do they kind of take a step back, smile come on their face, and now they're telling stories about how Dre was a blessing to them, how he encouraged them, how he worked tirelessly in his communities to be that light that they needed. So he was like, that is actually what it's really supposed to be about. It's all about who you know and what they know about you. How are you giving with your time? How are you just being a blessing to other people? So he said that. And then here's one for you. The name Antoine Fuqua, does that sound familiar to you? He's the director of Training Day and The Equalizer that just came out. I was actually his personal trainer for a little bit in LA before I moved. And I asked him, I said, how do you go from being a paratrooper, jumping out of planes, to being one of the leading Black directors in Hollywood? And he literally looked at me. He said, man, it's all God. He was like, it wasn't my plan, but this is my purpose. And I'll never forget that because it's anything he could have said, especially with his status. He could have said, oh, I just worked hard or I just kept grinding. But he took that opportunity, man, to give that praise and glory to God. So I'll never forget that. As my resume continues to build up and as I continue to be there to do my best to help other people, there's words like Fluke's words, like Gary's words, like Antoine Fuqua's words that I'm always going to remember, man. Yep.
Wow, wow, that's amazing, man. I was looking at your resume online, and it's like you have kind of tapped into different aspects of film. And say you're a physical trainer, you're a stunt man, you're an actor. So, what all do you do, and how did you, kind of adapt to all those different roles?
Sure. Well, growing up, I played football, like I said earlier, all the way to my second year of college. And then even when I first got to LA, along with acting, I also did what they call Nike Spark training. It's a special group of athletes that go out and we may do a photo shoot for Dick's Sporting Goods. And like the big posters that are up, like when you walk into Dick's Sporting Goods, of the athletes. Well, that's actually most of them are actually we were in the middle of a training session and we have a sports photographer there shooting us. So I did that several times. So I got training in that. And then other than that, in college, I had to do stunt training. And then I'm huge. My agent out here in Atlanta is Jay Purvis with Joy Purvis with Jay Purvis Talent. And she's always about training, 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 training. So, along with the different facets of what I do with film and television, I always take the time to try to do some stunt work or different things like that, and even working out. Because my most recent role with Tyler Perry, I was a security guard. And even though it's not a long scene, I'm literally running up and down, back and forth through the hall, breaking up fights in the jail cell. So something like that, I'm not just going to get out of bed and be able to keep that wind to make it look real, right? I'll be hunched over and like talking about I need some water. So it's just different aspects like that. You always got to be ready. I know that's so cliche, but you look at some of these actors like the Christian Bales who may go from doing The Machinist, where he was sticks and bones, to Batman, where he's super fit and in shape. You just always got to be ready. So one of the biggest things I pride myself in is keeping an acting coach who I meet with on a regular basis, several times a month. And his name is Vince Pisani. He's amazing. The things I've learned, Tay, just in theater, and then even training for 7 years in LA before I moved to Atlanta, I'm still learning more and more because those concepts he's teaching me, everything from Stanislavski to Meisner, how to make it a real life conversation as we're sitting here talking right now. And that's where it's seamless because I can sit here and say the lines, but if I'm just saying lines, the camera's going to tell, hey, you're lying, you're lying. But if I keep it real and natural, and just be in the moment, it's gonna be just from the training. Now it's just like exercising a muscle. You're gonna be able to regurgitate that, and it's gonna be so simple that you're not even acting, you're just being. So that's just a few of the different ways that I've trained and a few of the people that's helped me with training along my way.